Here she is, Maureen Morgan, Court 6.
Court 6? Where's that?
It's on a Judge Phelps Golden.
Come on, let's get some info. Shall I go and have a look?
No, what's the matter?
I just saw Trevor. Where?
I don't know, he went that way.
Did he threaten you?
He did, didn't he? Right.
Oh, where are you going? You can't go in there.
Well, you go in there then.
I can't, I've been warned off already.
Oh, great.
Hey, what do you think you're doing?
That's nice, you know. I'm glad you lot think it's funny.
All parties in the matter of Maureen Morgan, please go to Court 6. All parties in the matter of Maureen Morgan to Court 6.
Come on, up we go.
Mr. Hayward.
Sorry. Kathleen. Now, you know you can't come in, not until you've given evidence.
I'm just here for moral support.
As long as you don't discuss proceedings.
All parties in the matter of Maureen Morgan, please go to Court 6.
Toilet.
All parties in the matter of
It's all right then, I'll get her.
to Court 6.
Listen, don't let Trevor get to you, all right? Don't even look at him. Just look at Dad. And good luck, yeah? Go on. Going in, Zoe. Zoe?
I'm scared, Kat. And I don't want to see.
All rise. Maureen Morgan, you are charged on this indictment with attempted murder. The particulars of the offence are that on the 31st of December 2001, you attempted to murder Trevor Morgan. Are you guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Look, Zoe, she needs to know that we're all there for her, all right? If I could, I'd be in there like a shot.
There will be no dispute over the identity of the person who injured Mr. Morgan on that fateful New Year's Eve. That person, Maureen Morgan, stands before you in the dock. The issue for you is whether she acted in lawful self-defense or whether, in fact, she intended to kill her husband, to bring his life to an end. With your honor's leave, I call the first witness. Trevor Morgan.
Please take the book in your right hand.
Little
and
Mum
read out
bought
loud
him
the
that
words on
suit
the
for
cover.
their wedding.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Were you and your wife living together at the time of the incident?
No, she'd left me a couple of days before.
So you went to see her at 45 Albert Square. This is the home of a Mrs. Pauline Fowler, for whose son and daughter-in-law the defendant was babysitting that night.
Aye, that's right.
Was the defendant alone in the house?
Except for the baby, aye.
And how did you gain entry?
She let me in.
Can you tell us the purpose of your visit?
Well, I just wanted to talk things over with her.
And when you regained consciousness, was the defendant in the room?
No, I don't know where she was. Maybe she went for help.
Let's just confine ourselves to the facts. Did any help arrive? A doctor or an ambulance, perhaps?
No, nothing.
And as far as you are aware, had any attempt been made by the defendant herself to tend your injuries? Or to make you comfortable where you lay?
No, not that I'm aware of.
So, what did you do then?
Well, I was in terrible pain. I was confused. I managed to find my way out into the street. And then I passed out in an alley. Next thing I knew, I woke up in the hospital.
You were, I believe, unconscious for a week following the incident.
If that's what the record says, it's all a blur to me.
Yes, I think the first complaint you made of this incident to DC Burton was on the 11th of January. The police having been alerted by the hospital authorities. So why did you not report it to them yourself?
Because he knew he was in the wrong.
I was ashamed. I was ashamed to admit that I'd been attacked by a woman, by my own wife. I didn't want anything bad happening to Mo. She's a fragile wee thing, really. I still love her, no matter what she's done.
Just the facts, please, Mr. Morgan. We don't need to know how you feel.
Well, you can't just turn these things off, can you?
Thank you, Mr. Morgan.
I think we'll leave it there, Mr. Hayward, and reconvene after lunch.
All rise.
I don't know what his game is.
Oh, I do. It's called lying through your teeth.
He's not exactly lying, Lynn.
There you go, sweetheart. Baked spud, cheese and beans.
I'm not really that hungry, Dad.
And did you see the suit that Trevor's got on? Talk about rubbing your nose in it.
Yeah, he always did look lovely in that.
Here, put that on.
You leave it, Dad.
Well, I'll take that off your hands. What?
I think it's disgusting them sat there all ears while he looks like butter wouldn't melt in his mouth.
Oh, hang on. You got to admit, he don't come across like a thug, does he? I mean, if you don't know nothing about it, you could maybe see his point of view.
Oh, could you? You know, sometimes, Gary, you just take my breath away.
Yeah, that's what all the girls say. Oh. Lynn?
Oh, go away.
Nice one, Gary. Ain't you going after her?
What, let me grub go cold?
Mr. Morgan, you have told us that your wife had left you. That was a result of your violence.
I wouldn't say that.
No? Last October, for instance, you held a hot iron to your wife's hand.
That was an accident. She said so herself. She's always been clumsy around the house.
Clumsy? Would that also explain why you kicked her in the stomach on Christmas Day? Because you discovered she was taking contraceptives?
Why would I do that? If I wanted kids, why would I kick her in the stomach?
I don't know, Mr. Morgan. You tell me. You have taken counseling. Professional help to deal with anger. Is that not the case?
Is that a crime? I'm the one who's trying to be constructive here.
You knew there was a problem. You knew you needed help.
Aye, that's right. I knew Mo had a problem. I just hoped this would help her face up to it, that's all. These terrible mood swings of hers...
That's a lie!
Quiet, please, in the public gallery.
I suggest, Mr. Morgan, that you were the one with the problem. You have, on many occasions, beaten your wife. Is that not the truth?
Nobody can say they ever saw me hit Mo. She punched me in a local pub.
Mr. Morgan, that is not relevant.
But they're a quick-tempered clan. They don't always think about...
Mr. Morgan, the jury will please disregard those remarks.
Oh, yeah, and the rest.
All I'm saying is that she's a wee bit insecure, and it gets her down. I've tried my best to reassure her, but sometimes she just loses control.
You can't get away with this, Trevor.
I will have silence in the public gallery.
Just like the rest of her family.
He's taking the mick. My sister is not a psycho. You're a liar.
Security, please remove that woman.
What?
No, you're joking, and you're not. She's only telling the truth. Come on. And there's more than it can be said of him.
Quiet, please.
I don't need to sit here and listen to this rubbish anymore.
I'm sorry that some people don't know how to behave in a public place. Now, I must warn you that if there are any further interjections, I shall have to clear the entire public gallery. Thank you, Mr. Hick.
Lynn?
That's great, Billy, getting the judge's back up. It's got nothing to do with you anyway.
Look, I care about Mo.
You think some pathetic little bit of rock's going to help?
No, it's not a rock. It's a lucky charm.
Yeah, but it's worked a treat on you, innit?
Your wife had moved out and had therefore made clear her desire to break contact with you. Nevertheless, you decided to visit her at Mrs. Fowler's house, where you knew she was babysitting, where clearly you knew she would be alone.
Do I need a chaperone to speak to my own wife?
You went there with the intent to harm, safe in the knowledge that Maureen had no third party to defend her.
That's not why I went there.
You say she let you into the house, but in fact you forced your way in.
She opened the door.
Before she knew it was you, by which time you pushed your way in.
She let me in.
And then she told you that she was no longer in love with you. That must have been hard to take. Were you angry?
I was hurt. Wouldn't you be?
So hurt, in fact, that when she asked you to leave, you refused.
No, I just wanted to talk.
So angry that you used physical force against her.
I just wanted her to listen, all right?
You grabbed her, and that's when she hit you with the iron. To defend herself. In the desperate fear of a violent assault from
She had no reason to fear me.
She thought she had.
Look, I love that woman, all right? I'd do anything for her. I just want her back. That's all. I just wanted my wee Mo back.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I have no re-examination.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. You are free to go.
Depressed fracture to the temporoparietal junction. Contusions to the back of the head. Multiple fractures to the ribs resulting in a punctured lung.
For the layman, Dr. Carr, a depressed fracture is one in which the skull has effectively been stoved in. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. The bone is pushed inwards into the soft tissue.
And could any of the injuries have proven fatal?
In the case of the head wounds, yes.
Please, could you show Exhibit 1, the iron, to Dr. Carr? Could such an implement have caused Mr. Morgan's injuries?
Yes. Something like this would be consistent.
It's a heavy object, weighing 1.1 kilos.
About 2 pounds?
2.5, Your Honor. Would you agree that one blow could inflict an appreciable degree of harm?
Yes. I suppose that's fair to say.
And how many blows were struck, as far as you can tell?
3, at least.
Thank you, Doctor.
Dr. Carr, in your 13 years' experience of treating assault victims in accident and emergency, is the domestic iron a common choice of weapon?
Hardly.
And again, in your experience, what is the most common weapon?
Oh, knives, undoubtedly.
Thank you.
Yes, we did find that bleach and other cleaning fluids had recently been used.
Nevertheless, Mr. Harris, did you also find forensic evidence at the scene?
Blood particles later matched to the victim were found on the door handle, the floor, and the sideboard.
And apart from those samples that matched Mr. Morgan, did you find blood belonging to anyone else? The defendant, for instance?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. No further questions. DCI Marsden, what were the first words of the defendant once you'd cautioned her on arrest?
She said, "Trevor's alive then, you've spoken to him."
She was surprised then to learn that he was still alive.
Miss Sumner, only the defendant can answer that question.
In any event, had she herself reported the incident to the police?
No, she hadn't.
You then conducted a tape-recorded interview with the defendant, lasting some 90 minutes. Your Honour, an agreed summary has been prepared.
Wait. Still at it, are they?
Where's Lee?
Don't know.
What, you had a barney, have you?
It's family. Keep your nose out of it, all right?
I know what I wanted. I wanted Trevor dead.
I then asked her, do you mean that you were trying to kill him?
And she replied, yes, I suppose I was. Thank you, Detective Chief Inspector.
DCI Marsden, couldn't this apparent confession be the result of shock?
The officer is not a qualified psychiatrist, Mr. Hayward, as well you know.
In your extensive professional experience, officer, has there never been a suspect who, in a confused or traumatized mental state, has confessed to a crime that they did not necessarily commit?
Well, yes. but...
Thank you.
DCI Marsden, did you or any other officer put pressure on the defendant to elicit this confession?
No, absolutely not. In fact, we gave her every opportunity to explain her behaviour. But she was adamant that she didn't want or need a duty solicitor, despite our best efforts to persuade her otherwise.
Adamant. She was resolute on the contents of her confession.
I have to conclude that she was.
I have no further re-examination, Your Honor. Thank you, Detective Chief Inspector.
In that case, I think this is a suitable juncture to adjourn for the day.
Court, rise.
Dad?
Mr. Slater, could I have a word?
Yeah.
Oh, Maureen.
Just nip it to the ladies.
I'll come with you. No, Kat, please, just give me a minute.
What?